The Galactic Council chambers fell silent as Ambassador Reed finished speaking. His words hung in the air like a death sentence. The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats, some with expressions of disbelief, others with dawning horror. "You cannot be serious," said Ambassador Trell of the Vanith Confederation, his translucent skin pulsing with anxious blue patterns. "No species would willingly destroy an entire system." Reed smiled thinly. "We warned you what we are." 5 years earlier, humanity had been forcibly inducted into the Galactic Council. Earth had been on the verge of achieving independent faster-than-light travel when the Council decided it was time to welcome the newcomers. Their welcome came in the form of a blockade and an ultimatum: join or be isolated forever. Humans had a long history of responding poorly to ultimatums. The Council had studied Earth's broadcasts, analyzed their wars, witnessed their fictional entertainment, and still fundamentally misunderstood what they were dealing with. They saw a fractious, emotional species that would easily fall in line once shown the majesty of galactic civilization. They expected gratitude. They did not expect resistance. "You violated our sovereignty," Reed continued, his voice calm and measured. "You attempted to dictate terms to a species that had spent its entire existence fighting against such control. We asked for patience. We requested time to prepare our people. You refused. The Council had imposed restrictions on human expansion, limited their military development, and placed Earth under protective observation. They had expected humans to accept their place as junior members of the galactic community. The breaking point came when the Drexler hegemony, seeing an opportunity to acquire valuable territory, petitioned the Council for mining rights to Mars and the asteroid belt. The Council, in its infinite wisdom, had granted these rights without consulting Earth. "We told you," Reed said, "that humans do not respond well to threats. We warned you that taking what is ours would have consequences. Now the Drexler mining fleet lies in ruins, and your economy faces collapse." Ambassador Varn of the Drexler stood, his armored carapace clattering with rage. "You destroyed 67 vessels, killed thousands of my people. This is an act of war." Reed nodded. "Yes, it is. That was the first lesson the Council learned about humans. They did not make idle threats." The second lesson came when the Council sent a punitive fleet to Earth. The combined forces of 12 species, 200 warships strong, advanced toward the Sol system with overwhelming confidence. They never arrived. "Your fleet encountered our defensive line at Proxima Centauri," Reed explained. "We had been preparing for decades, building automated defense platforms throughout our neighboring systems. Your commanders were warned. They were given the opportunity to withdraw." The Council members remembered the fragmented transmissions, the confusion, the panic, and the fleet commander's final message before all communication ceased. "Impossible," whispered Ambassador Leth of the Orillan domain. "Our analysis showed your technology was at least 70 years from achieving such capability." Reed's expression didn't change. "We lied." That was the second lesson. Humans were deceptive by nature, masters of misdirection and strategic concealment. "The human homeworld was considered a low-threat integration," said High Counselor Zeth, their tentacles writhing in agitation. "How could our assessments have been so wrong?" "Because you judged us by your standards," Reed replied. "You saw our divisions and assumed weakness. You saw our violence and assumed lack of control. You never considered that our conflict is precisely what made us strong." The third lesson about humanity came when the Council attempted economic sanctions. They closed trade routes, froze assets, and expected Earth to capitulate under the pressure. Instead, human ships appeared throughout Council space, not to attack, but to trade freely, ignoring established protocols. They offered advanced technologies that Council scientists had deemed impossible, medicines that cured diseases thought incurable, and luxuries that quickly became highly sought after. "Your sanctions created a black market that we were happy to supply," Reed explained. "Your citizens welcomed us even as your governments condemned us." The Council had learned that humans were adaptable beyond reason, turning obstacles into opportunities with frightening speed. And now you threaten the destruction of the Drexlar homeworld? High Counselor Zeth asked, voice trembling. Not a threat. A statement of fact, Reed corrected. If the Drexlar hegemony does not withdraw all claims to the Sol system and pay reparations for their incursion, their home system will face the consequences. You cannot possibly have the capability to. Reed interrupted by activating a holographic display. It showed a small, unassuming probe approaching a dead star. This is happening now, he said quietly. The council watched in horrified silence as the probe released something into the stellar remnant. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the dead star flared with impossible energy, a controlled nova that sent a precisely directed wave of radiation into space. That was an uninhabited system, Reed said. A demonstration only. The probe we've sent to the Drexlar home system is identical. The fourth and final lesson about humanity. They had been holding back. We accept your terms, Ambassador Varn said. His earlier defiance evaporated. Reed nodded. Wise decision. As the emergency session concluded, Ambassador Trell approached Reed in the corridor. You would really have done it? Destroyed billions of lives? Reed looked tired suddenly. We've spent our history fighting ourselves, Ambassador. We've imagined our own extinction in 1,000 different ways. We built weapons that could destroy our world many times over, and we came close to using them more than once. We warned you what we are. What are you? Trell asked. Survivors, Reed answered. At any cost. The universe had finally accepted what humans had been saying all along. They had warned the galaxy what they were. The tragedy was that it took the galaxy too long to listen.